Happy Monday, everyone. So, last week, Sports Illustrated announced they were laying off their entire staff. But you could see it coming like a plus-size model down a fashion runway. Still, this was a big deal for those of us who grew up when SI was required reading and also Scotch guarding. Nobody knows what that means. So it's sad that SI managed to go from a national institution to a mental institution in record time. If any business majors want to learn how not to run a company, SI has your game plan. That's because the management tried almost everything they could think of to drive clicks, except for one tiny thing: keeping the focus on sports. You know, the subject they were supposed to be illustrating, instead of showing how to ruin a brand faster than it takes to chug a Bud Light. What management should have tried is remembering what their loyal customers want: sports straight up without the woke chaser. Scores, stats, inspirational stories about athletes who only used a little bit of steroids. Those were the days. Unfortunately, SI's pivot from rebounds to pronouns is far from unique. Because what the left really wants is to ensure that none of us can think for ourselves. A moment you spend cheering for the home team is a moment you're not thinking their approved thoughts about climate change, gender, or why your Super Bowl party should serve bugs instead of hot wings. So when did sports start going woke? Well, there was Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem. In response, many 49er fans also went to their knees, praying Kaepernick would be traded. And he was, to the People's Republic of Nike. Remember when he compared the NFL to slave owners and then sent a nice letter begging them to take him back? That's like me begging Kilmeade's family to let me be a pallbearer. I mean, he's still alive for now. Next came LeBron James, another millionaire kneeler. LeBron also telegraphed his wokeism by being photographed reading civil rights books like the autobiography of Malcolm X. Only problem is fans noticed he was always on page one. Of course, he talked about human rights, but only for certain humans. China could tie a toddler to a radiator in a Nike shoe sweatshop, and LeBron would only freak if the heat melted the shoelaces. Then the U.S. women's soccer team joined in with the usual vomit of lectures, shaming, and self-importance directed at the team's only supporters. True, you'd find more fans in an igloo. But it was no surprise that when chief troll Megan Rapinoe got injured on the way to losing the World Cup, she blamed God. And God was like, go to hell. But SI was still on it, offering up their famous swimsuit issue to the woke gods. That rag was once $1 billion empire, bigger than the magazine that spawned it. I still remember as a teenager having paper cuts where a boy should never had a paper cut. My toes. Then in 2014, the swimsuit edition was taken over by woke editor MJ Day, and soon she brought this. Now look, I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but my recollection of the swimsuit issue was more along the lines of Kathy Ireland, not a cover model the size of Ireland. Having taken on fat shaming, the next evil was ageism, by having an 82-year-old woman grace the cover, which left a lot of readers wondering, how long has that model been in the water? But that's Martha Stewart, and she's not bad. And it made perfect sense. Every sports nut I know is interested in how to make a baked brie to impress your next book club. The 2023 edition also featured a model who was 7 months pregnant and a bald black woman who shaved off her hair as a form of protest. To the readers, it wasn't just Tom Brady's footballs that were deflated. You know, all that was missing was trans. Oh yeah. SI featured at least 2 on the swimsuit edition without indicating that the model were trans. I can only guess how many teenage boys had been emotionally scarred after finding out they rubbed one out to a chick who might have been a New Jersey plumber named Frank. I kid. Finally, in November, it was revealed SI was being written, at least in part, by an artificial intelligence program. Computers were writing for the mag, which could explain this cover model. Now, as a former magazine editor, I can tell you it's all about market share and targeting the tiniest of tiny percentages of a population while risking the loss of your entire reader base makes about as much business sense as the NRA hiring Alec Baldwin. Now, of course, it's not just SI that's caught the woke mind virus. Look at Forbes, a magazine focused on investing that now manages to be anti-capitalist. What's next? Good Housekeeping promoting hoarders? GQ promoting men? Then there's Teen Vogue, Marxist trash that reads like the Communist Manifesto written in crayon. And word comes now that this year's Super Bowl will once again feature not only the national anthem, but also the black national anthem. Is this really the way to bring the country together? A little bit of friendly apartheid? I mean, the Super Bowl unites more people than hating Maroon 5. And these assholes can't leave it alone. Meanwhile, on X, the SI swimsuit banner still reads, "Opening eyes, speaking truths, changing minds," when it should have said, "Covering sports and then shutting up." But I'll take it. Smattering. But they sure changed the minds of their readership, who are heading over to Outkick and Barstool faster than LeBron chasing a Chinese paycheck. Bottom line is that CRT, DEI, progressivism, wokeism, call it what you will, it's a divisive, coercive ideology that will never succeed for exactly those reasons. Then again, for the people who implement it, that is the reason. So them too. Americans don't want to be divided or coerced. They don't want to be told what to believe. Raise issues on your own time, not ours. And if you force it down people's throats, they'll throw it back up. It's why the progressives can ruin anything, from girls in bikinis to sports. And if we don't stop them, a country.
One of the best monologues and funniest I've ever seen.